Agenda approval. Anybody need to amend the agenda? Any changes? Ryan, anything to add or change the agenda? Okay.
For approval?
We have a motion for approval.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Privilege of the floor. Nobody signed up for the privilege of the floor. I would like to ask if anybody wants to speak.
Just a request that everybody use the microphones, please.
Yeah. Sir, go ahead. Real quick, state your name and your address.
My name is Mark Elias, 595 Morgan Drive.
That was Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Just like to get some input on the condition of Morgan Drive itself. I know I've spoken with Al and some other people, and they tell me there's a water line coming through, but I've been hearing this for a while now. I just wonder if you have a schedule.
For the water project?
For the project,
Okay.
getting the potholes repaired, it's just Morgan Drive falling apart.
Well, what we'll do is when we go to the department head concerns, I'll ask our engineer about the water line project,
Okay.
and then our highway superintendent will address Morgan Drive.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? And that'll be right after anybody else speaks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Steve,
Yeah.
could I interrupt?
Sure.
The date for our meeting tonight, Tom?
Yeah. Oh, 2017?
Yeah, we should make a
April
change.
23rd, 2018. We don't want to go back.
Amend the agenda as stated. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to department heads. Chief.
Just so the board's aware, last week we had a roundtable discussion at the Niagara-Wheatfield High School. It actually went very well with the students concerning all of the things that are happening in our atmosphere today. Also, so the board's aware, I know some of the board members are aware, not this weekend, but the weekend before, we had an accident with one of the police cars, one of the officers did. It was one of the SUV utility trucks that ended up being totaled. The officer was miraculously okay. That's something we're still doing. I should have something by the midweek probably for our department investigation.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Finances later. Deputy Supervisor Conrad, anything? I tell you what, let's go to Dave Train. Morgan Drive.
We'll address Morgan Farms first. Well, right now, if they're going to put a sewer line in, or a water line in, there's no use in me paving the road.
And I understand that. I'm just wondering why it's taking so long.
So I don't know, I'm not with that department, we'll catch the engineers. Okay. Potholes have been patched once with Cotal. Cotal is a temporary patch, it comes out. The plant here isn't even making hot patch yet because of the temperature. Today's the first nice day we've had of the year. So they won't start making hot patch until probably this week, the end of this week. So Lockport's making it. By the time I get it here from Lockport, it's cold and I don't have a hot box. So the other towns right now are using their hot boxes. So as soon as I get that, we're going to start. We're probably going to start on Fletcher Road, that area there, and come and start working our way down. It's not something that's we're avoiding.
But
So
I understand that avoiding.
I mean,
the roads are
it's only the first nice day. I still got plows on my trucks. I mean, I can't get it the first day, get everything done. We are out, we're doing brush and leaves because everybody this weekend pulled out the brush and leaves. So that'll be addressed, and that'll be addressed the next few days. Wednesday it's supposed to rain, I'm taking plows off on Wednesday. So then we'll start from there and we'll go step by step. We'll follow the procedure one by one. Another thing, we had a trencher, we put it up Options International, we received $2,700 for the top bid. The bid was closed, so they had the board accept that.
What was it for again?
The trencher,
Make a motion to approve the top bid of $2,700 for the trencher from the highway garage.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
and only one other thing, we have $10,000 transferred over from H97 to the highway funds for the salt shed.
Okay. And is everybody aware what that Has everybody talked to David in regards to that? Yeah, you can talk to everybody, yeah. So, I know with the wet spring, he found out that the water's not draining everywhere, so he's got to put in some drainage, some, what else?
Yeah.
Some more
Salt,
stone.
everything. Last week I
Yeah.
ordered another 100 tons, because we were supposed to get another storm.
Right.
This us.
So, look for a motion to, or I'll make the motion to move $10,000 from H97 into,
The highway salt shed.
what's the line for the highway salt shed that you already have, or is it
It's
just?
in H97.
Okay, we just need to approve
I put
$10,000.
Right off the bat, but
Okay.
there's a separate line specifically for it.
Approve $10,000 for the salt shed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Anything else?
That's it.
So let's jump into Bob Lannon.
Okay, Dave, are you going to be doing mulch this year?
No, we
Residents are
don't do
calling.
mulch.
No mulch, okay. Residents are calling as well.
No, there's no mulch.
Thank you. Bob Lannon?
The schedule for the water line at this point is the survey is being conducted. Parts of that are under design. We're targeting to advertise for bids pending town of Lewiston Water Department approval and Niagara County Health Department approval, amongst others, later this fall and sometime hopefully in September, which we anticipate at this point will be about an 18-month construction duration. So we're still a little bit away yet from there being water line in the ground.
Bob, if I could, just, so as far as how long we're gonna have to keep these roads up to par, or at least as best we can, until how many months do you think it is before the water line will be completed? And they'll be putting the new roads in?
Well,
And I would just mention it, because when you put the water line, doesn't mean that the new road goes in, right, Dave?
Correct,
So-
yeah.
It'll be 2 years down the road.
Yeah,
Right, so it's a significant amount of time.
Yeah, the water line at this point, in real broad strokes, might be completed 2 years from now,
I understand.
okay? However, just to be clear, okay, that includes new water lines, valves, hydrants, and appurtenances. It is not, it
Not the
includes
new road.
trench restoration, but not full road width reconstruction,
Right.
okay?
And also, I mean, how many locations will actually cross a road? Is there situations?
Oh,
where
there'll be probably dozens, I would think,
Okay.
of road crossings and
Okay.
such.
I asked Bob today in a discussion about whether or not, when this project is done, how much is opened at a time. And he says a lot has to be determined, whether we're gonna do the entire project at one time, or we're gonna do it in bits and pieces. It depends on the weather.
Yeah. And Mr. Elias, if you want to call me later this week, I'll talk to Mr. Lane and I'll find out exactly what Morgan Drive, the actual construction on Morgan Drive is, and if it's going to cross a road, or, I can show you that.
And I'll talk to you before you leave. I can tell you from experience, there's no way Morgan Drive's gonna last 2 years just patching potholes.
Yeah.
It's a mess. Somebody's gonna get
Yeah.
hurt. I mean, there's a lot of walkers in that neighborhood, there's a lot of
Yeah.
cul-de-sacs. Somebody's gonna get hurt.
Yeah. There's a lot of roads, and we've been working in the county roads, some county roads that run through the town that are in real rough conditions, so.
So what happens too, is every time they cross this road, we're gonna have to go in, let it settle and everything else too, so.
Right.
It's not like it's gonna be a one-shot
Oh,
deal,
no.
there we go. We're gonna come in, we're gonna have to mill it down, we're gonna have to do it right from that point on, the binder and the top and everything. Like we said, it's 2 years just for that part of it. It may take longer, because if I had more equipment on there, there's no use of me putting all this equipment on there and tearing up the roads.
Correct.
So,
Okay.
and we can skim patch certain areas and do that. That's how we're gonna address certain other areas. We have a paver now, we'll come in certain areas, we hit it, maybe 20 yards or whatever we have to do to maintain it. Right now, our hardest part is keeping our good roads good. You know what I mean? It's just the weather like this year, you'll see some roads we just paved 3, 4, 5 years ago are starting to come up with potholes. It's becoming a problem for the whole county, really.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Bob. Sure. Mike, yeah, Mr. Lyons.
Supervisor, Mr. Bax has my contact information.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
I'll make sure I pass it along.
Thank you.
Mike Townsend? Nothing? Bernie Rotella, anything?
Yeah, just a couple of things. We just want to let you know the Bridge New York grant went in for the Fletcher Road culvert. So I want to just thank our town engineer and Dave getting that application in. We're working on the Greenway application for the park. That should be ready for the end of June and the presentation. And tonight you have the DASD contract that's on your agenda.
Okay.
That's planned.
Thank you. Jeff Ritter.
I'd like to just read this prepared statement. Between Sunday, April 15th and Monday, April 16th, town of Lewiston experienced nearly 3 inches of precipitation in addition to some snow melt. As a result, yards and ditches, as well as the town's sewer collection system, were filled beyond capacity. This has resulted in multiple sewer backups in homes and in low-lying areas in homes with sewer laterals under their basement slabs. As town residents, I want you to be aware that the town of Lewiston Sewer Department has been proactive in its efforts to repair the aging infrastructure since the 1990s. More recently, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation has mandated that all municipalities develop a plan on collection system maintenance and repairs to limit the amount of sanitary sewer overflows by trying to limit inflow and infiltration. The town has been working diligently on this plan. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, I know it was a tough weekend. Okay. Moving on, approval of the meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve, let me see here.
Let's do this in 2 parts.
I was not here on the 26th, so I'll have to abstain.
Okay.
Move to approve the minutes on March 26th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. One abstention.
One abstention. And then the work session on April 9th, I'll have to abstain. I was not here.
Move for approval as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And one abstention. The abstract, Councilman Moria.
Abstracts for 4/23/2018. I move to approve the regular abstract of claims numbered 969 to 1118 and recommend payment in the amount of $243,705.37 plus a post audit of $305,831.23.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Old business, boards, commissions,
No action.
No action tonight on that. The pond request also, that's going to be sent back to the to Tim Masters and the building inspector, correct?
That's the appropriate route for our code. It goes to the building department so that it can go off the agenda as well.
Okay. New business, clerk's correspondence. None? Okay. Finance.
I have 2 items that I'm asking for the board to approve tonight. The first one being a budget revision to fund unexpected unemployment expenses for 2018.
So, Jack, if I'm correct on this, you want to do 2 movements.
2 movements because it's coming from SS2 and SS3.
All right, so it's going to come from SS2-812-200-200-000 of $5,500, and that will go into SS2-905-0-800-0000.
Correct.
And can we do it all together?
What was the amount?
5,500 from those 2. Move from the.
There's 2 of them.
There's another.
In the SS2, it's 5,500. In the SS3, it's 1,000.
Right.
So the total is 6,500.
Should I continue?
Yeah.
Okay. Move from SS3 8120-0200-0000 $1,000 to SS3 9050-0800-0000. And it'll be a wash.
Okay, we have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you. The second item I have is a request. We'd like to ask for the board for approval to restate the purchase of the cameras for this meeting room from the B fund over to the H97. It was $2,253.98.
Okay. So moved.
Who's second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Legal. Right?
Just a couple things. First is an intermunicipal agreement with the town of Lewiston and the city of Niagara Falls. It's basically an agreement that allows the town and the city to share resources in terms of operation of our highway departments. Each of the council members should have gotten a copy of that in advance, so we'll need a motion to approve the agreement and then a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the agreement on behalf of the town of Lewiston.
Do you want two separate motions? Move to approve the intermunicipal agreement for sharing of equipment, services, and materials as presented, and have it dated April 23rd, 2018.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Motion to authorize supervisor to sign said agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I just want to give Dave Train, I know he walked outside, a lot of credit because Dave Train worked on this agreement, and I think it's good for both communities. And I know the governor has been pushing communities for shared services. Even though we do a lot of shared services, this is another area where we can save some money and manpower. So I give Dave Train all the credit. And then the DASNY grant.
I'll defer to Bernie on this. I did review the grant agreement itself. It's fairly standard boilerplate language from the state. I would approve it as to form. Obviously, there's some things that the town has to follow up from their end. I've talked to Bernie about that. That is something that the town and Bernie are aware of. But it's pretty
Basically,
standard.
it's a $50,000 grant for the pickup truck and 5 fire hydrants. So you sign it, goes back to the state, takes about 45 days to get back. We can put in for reimbursement. I understand that we already bought the pickup truck, and you're really free to go and get the 5 fire hydrants. So we'll take care of the administration and get the reimbursement.
Okay. So you need a motion for the supervisor to sign the DASNY agreement.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Engineering.
Yes, I have one item, which is essentially a continuation or an extension of the recent board action to authorize me to sign the purchase order between the town of Lewiston and New York Power Authority. This is in connection with what we call this NIPA fire hydrant. The first domino has fallen, and we've entered into a purchase order between NIPA and the town in the amount of $42,000. The next step that we have to do is authorize, or actually award the contract to the low bidder, who is Vasone Contracting, in the amount of $31,509. That will allow us now to actually begin work on this NIPA fire hydrant.
So you need a motion to...
Motion to award the contract, and then subject to attorney approval, allow the supervisor to sign the contract.
And the gentleman's name again?
It's Vasone, V-I-S-O-N-E. He was the lowest of 4 bids received.
Make a motion to approve the low bidder for the NIPA fire hydrant to Vasone in the amount of $42,000.
No,
sorry.
$31,509.
$31,509.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign any appropriate document subject to legal approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thanks, that's it for me, unless there's any questions.
No.
So the $42,000 contract with NIPA help involves all the other expenses and fees associated.
Yeah.
Gotcha, thank you.
Also, for Upper Mountain Fire Company, the following persons are no longer members of the Upper Mountain Volunteer Fire Company. We request that the town remove their names from the Upper Mountain Volunteer Fire Company town roster. Tristan Dietz and Khalid Goldfuss. So they have a motion to remove them from the
So
roster.
moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Councilman Bax.
I have nothing, thank you.
Councilman Guyton.
I have nothing, but I have to comment. I don't like this dais at all. And I don't know if it's too late to change it in some way. I can't see down the board the way it was before. The judge doesn't like it because he can't get close enough to the people with whom he's addressing. If there's any way that we can make some modifications on this, even if we move this post and do something. I'm sorry, it wasn't on the agenda, but I'm sitting here and I can't see down the end of the table.
John likes to do that.
Yeah.
John likes it that way. John and I sometimes are back here this way looking at each other.
Okay, so noted. Councilman Jacoby.
I have three things. I attended the Fire Prevention Bureau meeting in Sanborn, and we talked about firefighter recruitment and firefighter retention more in passing than a specific attention as anything formal. But along those lines, it's come to light, a couple of people approached me about ambulance response times. And you know, the chiefs are more than happy to address that issue, but what we need is a specific incident, you know, the date, the time, where it occurred, so that we can look at it. Because in my history in the fire service, a lot of times people say, oh, it took 20 minutes to get an ambulance, 20 minutes for a fire engine, and we would go back and read the tapes, and it would be far less than that. And I'm not saying they're getting there in 3 minutes, but you have to remember they are volunteer companies. But the chiefs would be more than happy to address it, but they have to be made aware of the incident. So that was interesting to me. And along those lines, several of us attended the Lewiston #1 installation dinner. And Lewiston #1's got some innovative things that they're doing as far as handling response times and getting more people in the fire hall to respond. So for the public's general knowledge, fire companies are aware of any shortcomings that might be there, and they're working diligently to correct it. And I don't know that it exists, I don't know that it's rampant, but even 1 or 2 incidents is probably too many. Then the last thing is the historic preservation. It's proving to be very interesting. Zach Hollister is going to bring in a collection of his own photos of all the historic places in the town of Lewiston. And I'm sure you'd be more than welcome at the meeting the
second Tuesday of the month.
Second Tuesday of the month. It's here, and we do it in the kitchen.
May 15th.
May 15th at 6 o'clock. So it might be interesting if someone wants to see the old photos. That's all I got.
In regards to the fire recruitment, obviously being a first responder, recently retired first responder, it is an issue. But when I was on vacation, Horry County was running television ads to try and recruit volunteer firemen. And I was at the Eastern Hills Mall last night, and they have a display and a recruitment in the middle of the mall for Harris Hill. So it's everywhere. Unfortunately, and I know the chief is has been a member with Lewiston 1 for a long time. I think he can vouch for it. It is hard to get members. It really is. And I feel, you know, hopefully they can. I know what you're talking about with Niagara Falls, or Lewiston 1 has gone out of the district to allow volunteers to volunteer that don't live in the district, and it's actually worked out for them. So they're very proactive. So
I should go out on a limb here. Even though I'm the new person, I'm sure that the board is unanimous in the support of the fire companies.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, we want to see them thrive, and we want to see them be able to serve the community. So, like I say, if anything happens, rather than go, you know, throw it out at the local restaurant or at the bar and complain about it, if you could get the word either to the fire companies themselves or just to a member of the board or the supervisor, and we'll look into it.
Thank you. Councilman Morial.
Yes, I got a homeowner from a resident. He lives in Little Vista Drive, and he's requested a light to be installed. In his email, he said John Giuliani said that was agreed upon regarding subdivision approval. Now they've built a lot on the corner, a light is needed. Thanks for your attention. So I called Donna and Carol and asked them if they could pull the minutes from that meeting. And here in the resolution, I like to read it. At a meeting of the town board of Lewiston, held at Lewiston, New York, on the 10th day of November 2014, the following resolution was duly adopted. Be it resolved the Lewiston Board authorized National Grid to install 100-watt high-pressure sodium lamp and a traditional post-top luminaires on a 16-foot black direct embedded fiberglass pole and direct buried cable on Big Vista Lane and Little Vista Lane at an annual cost to the town of $276.72. So the board, I think, did its due diligence here, and if they're looking for more lighting, I think they should either go to their HOA or however they want to handle it. Can we send a letter that the light was installed and let them know that we did our obligation on this? And I actually went and looked at the pole tonight. It's a big pole.
Yeah, it's on the corner
Yeah,
of Big
it's on the
Vista and
corner.
Little Vista.
Yeah, so,
Right.
all right, that's all I have.
And there is a town policy on lights. Intersections and select curves.
And cul-de-sacs.
I don't like the word dangerous.
Yeah.
Select.
All curves are dangerous, right? Okay, thank you. Okay, privilege of the floor, Paulette Glasgow.
You want to put the mic over there, or you want me to just?
No, Bernie, we grab the mic and throw it on.
I mean, I could talk loud enough, I would imagine.
Well, you'd be good for us because you're facing us. I don't know about everybody in the back.
I'm in the back. Just that, I wasn't going to speak about this, but Bill mentioned the dais. And there's an old saying.
I can't hear you, Paulette.
Is it on? Oh.
Yeah. If you want to hold it in your hand, if it's easier.
Bill mentioned about the dais, and I wasn't going to speak about this, I'm going to speak about something else, but there's an old saying that the best form of government is the government that's closest to the people. And I've said from the time I sat on that board 20 years ago, that dais is too high. It should be brought down to floor level, and you should be pushed this way. Because you need to be closer to the people.
One of the dilemmas is it's shared by the judges, and
Well,
they have more standards for guys than we do.
But there's a way of doing it, Bill, that you can even build out this way, so that he could sit closer to this way.
I'm not happy with the way it is now, but.
But I always said it should be lower. You shouldn't sit higher than the people. With that said, at the March meeting, the town board discussed the replacing of the damaged senior center sign. During that discussion, the town board mentioned how much it would cost to replace the sign and how much they could possibly pay for the sign. And that's in actually the minutes that you approved tonight. I have the following requirements. During that meeting, the town board discussed going out to bids. Since the figure discussed falls within the required 3 written quotes of the town's procurement policy, when does the town anticipate going out to bid?
Well, you put this in the hands of Tim Masters, correct?
No, it's going to go out to bid, probably this week or next week.
Have you voted to go out to bid yet?
Um,
You should have it.
Yeah, no, we haven't. We haven't.
You need to do that.
I'm not
No,
sure if
I don't
have
believe
to
we
on
have to.
something
Yeah.
that-
I
Because
think
it's
you
not
do.
going out on sealed bids, it's just the department, I'm sorry, it's 3 written. I mean, if you want to vote, just put it out to bid.
Well, the
Yeah.
procurement policy says if it's more than a certain amount, if it's more than $2,500, 25 to 5,000, you need to advertise for bids, and you need to go out to bids for 3 written.
Right, and we are going out for bids. What I gave you was like for an insurance estimate.
Yeah, I know. So in other words, you're just going to go out to bids, you're not going to advertise for bids.
Well,
For your procurement policy.
we may advertise it. I don't believe we have to vote on it.
Okay, all right. Okay, then the next question that I have, since the board has publicly announced how much it would pay to replace the sign, which is in your minutes, would any bids the town receives per that bid solicitation be considered tainted? Because the figure is already out there.
I'm not sure. I can't answer that.
We would accept the lowest bid.
Yeah, but you've already said it's going to cost you a 50, you only have 57.80. So if someone comes in with 56.01, then they're the lowest bid. You've already advertised how much money you're going to spend for the sign. You're not supposed to do that.
That's for insurance purposes. We're going to send it out for 3 bids, and when they come in, when the bid comes in.
No, none of the bids you hope are gonna be closer to that, I would think.
I think what the board's plan was, I think that represents just replacing the current
The
sign.
current
as it
sign,
is.
yeah.
What you're sending out to bid is a little different, is my understanding.
Right. Yeah, right. Yep.
But I'm just wondering if it would be, because years ago we had the problem this with Trey Mahar. He got his hand slapped by the state controller because prior to going out for bid, he said how much money he was going to spend, and the controller came in and said, you're not supposed to do that.
Well, I don't believe we said how much we're going to spend. I said how much it was to replace it and for insurance value.
I just was wondering if the bids would be tainted.
Yeah, I can't answer that.
If I'm correct, Mrs. Calasano would like the same, basically same sign that she has right now.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less, unless there's been a further discussion that I wasn't part of.
Yeah, I talked, yeah.
And I'll add to that. I can't speak for Jeanette, but I can speak for the seniors. They like the dark color, but they like it, this sign. They don't like the fancy schmancy stuff.
Okay.
I'm a senior and I like it.
No, you have to come down there, John, to see exactly what they like and what they
I'm
don't.
in favor of automation, where they can change the sign from the desk, because.
Well, it won't be that.
That won't be that.
Just tell you what
But
I
just so that you know, they
Right.
like the dark, but they have.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, nobody else is speaking. Upcoming board commission meetings, zoning board of appeals is May 10th at 7 p.m. Work session May 14th at 6 p.m. Historic preservation May 15th at 6 p.m. in the lunchroom. Environmental commission at May 15th at 7 p.m. Parks and recreation May 16th at 7 p.m. Planning board May 17th at 6:30 p.m. and the regular town board meeting on May 30th. No, that's not right. May 31st. Oh, okay, that's right, because of the holiday. Yeah, May 31st at 6 p.m.
Okay, do you not have a joint village town meeting coming up?
Oh, yes, on May 7th, we have a meeting at the Village Hall. I'm glad you mentioned that. On May 7th at, I believe we're going to do it at 5 p.m. So they're just before their meeting. It'll be
Open to the public.
Open to the public, yeah.
In passing, I saw Amy Slaughter, I'm not sure if she said it to you or to whom, but if we can submit some of the topics that we would like to have discussed ahead of time, and they will send us a list. I would very much like to see the bicentennial mentioned on that joint, and I will not be there.
Okay. Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second?
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you very much. The agenda approval.
I have one addition. To approve a mini bid for a van for the wastewater treatment plant.
I'd like to add an update on the cable commission for televising the board meetings.
The streetlight request, I'm going to table that for tonight.
That's already on there?
It's on old business, yeah.
Okay. Ryan?
I'm going to be adding an executive session. There will be 4 topics. 1, consult with attorney regarding status of collective bargaining agreement involving the police department. Number 2, consult with attorney involving a lawsuit currently pending against the town. That would be Thomas Smith versus the town of Lewiston et al. Number 3, consult with attorney. It is issues involving the Frontier House. And number 4, consult with an attorney. This involves a personnel issue with an employee in the water department.
Okay.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Department head statements. We'll start with Donna.
I'm on the agenda.
Okay. Chief Prevent.
I just have one concern if the board would entertain for Officer Hall, Brandon Hall. He's been deployed, as most of you know, for overseas for the military. He has not been here this year at all. He was deployed in October of last year. He will be returning in September. So he has been talking with Amy, and he is requesting that 60 of his 120 hours of vacation be carried over into next year. He's not going to be able to use it in a timely fashion, I don't believe, coming back when he is at late September.
And you also had some concerns about if he was trying to use it by the end of the year, that would kind of hamper you getting him back in the schedule and everything as well.
Correct. He's going to come. He's going to take a week or so off when he comes back to kind of get things settled with his family, and then he plans on coming back to work after that, so we can get him kind of back in the swing of things as well.
Okay.
I have no problem with it. I didn't read the part of the union contract pertaining to that.
Well,
I think our military deserves consideration.
Absolutely, absolutely. It wouldn't be covered. It would have to be a board action.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Anything else?
Just so the board's aware, I've been meeting with the fire companies, and we're trying to get everybody on the same page. It's actually been going fairly well with the active shooter type thing, with the drills with the fire and EMS, getting them on the same page, and working together in conjunction with the schools. Both Lewiston, Porter, and Niagara Wheatfield have pretty much expressed an interest in doing an exercise every year, which I think will help greatly as well.
It was nice to see a patrol car on North 6th Street helping out with the St. Peter's dismissal, since they don't have the parking lot at their availability right now. That's going to be a big asset when that parking lot is finished.
And they've reached out to us, and we've been doing that since the construction. I told them we would take care of them. We've been doing that since the construction started.
That's great. Okay, sitting in for Tim Masters is Chris McCall, and he's later on the agenda, so we'll pass on that. And finance, not on the agenda, so finance.
I do have one thing, please. I would ask the board to approve a post-audit payment to Harris. They are the software in our office. Post-audit payment would be for $14,534.28.
I just added to my post on it.
Mr. Supervisor, remind the staff to use the mic, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just speak up as best you can.
Better?
Yeah.
Is that
Let's see.
better?
Yeah, it's on. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's it. Okay, so
Are we gonna make a motion?
No, he's gonna put it on his post. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Deputy Supervisor Conrad? Nothing. Tom Lannon? No, Jeff Ritter?
Can I address that? Okay.
Sure. Okay. And this will be the mini bid?
Yes.
Yeah. I would like to respond to the mini bid from New York State Office of General Services quote on a new truck purchase. Mini bid number T180300002 had the winning bid from Van Bortle Ford in the amount of $28,310.09. I would like approval to purchase a truck from Van Bortle Ford. Funds to come from SS2 8120.200. This was budgeted for 2018.
What kind of truck is it? Just
It's a pickup truck.
So,
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on the matter?
This is part of it within the budget, correct?
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Dave Train?
Yes, I have one. I'd like to have some money moved from my general repairs personnel to my seasonal personnel line. I ran across the Department of Transportation mechanic. He's retiring this month, and I'd like to hire him for seasonal part-time to help put together a truck, and we're refurbishing a 95 single axle dump. And this will be a big help to my mechanic. All right.
And you already talked to Jackie?
Yes, we already
Yeah.
spoke about it.
Yeah.
The money will come from 0100 5110, and it'll be put into 5110 0200.
It's still within your budget.
Yes, it's all, this is transfer of money from my budget.
Those accounts weren't quite right.
Hold on. Hold on.
The counts aren't quite right. It's DBO 5110 0100 0000 is moving to DBO 5110 0100 0200.
I forgot the 0100s in there.
Still got him.
Okay, we still got them. Enough?
Yeah.
And then my bid.
And what was that in the amount of?
15,000.
15,000. Okay. Can I get a motion?
So, moved
I got it now.
I moved already.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
And I second it.
Okay, sorry. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And then the bid on the agenda.
Yeah. Okay. Mike Dashiell. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike's not here.
Well,
Mike Townsend.
Before, can I just respond or reply to something from Michael?
Yes.
Okay. I received an email from a resident concerned about no smoking at the parks. And I contacted Mike. Mike replied instantly saying that our rules are no smoking in the parks. And he periodically puts up new signs. And the citizen was very happy to get a fast response, even with a picture of this no smoking signs. She did ask a question about e-smoking, e-cigarettes, and New York State has not quite formulated a policy on that. And I appreciate Mike getting back to me. I appreciate the citizen, a nice polite email. I was able to communicate back to her very quickly. It's a good way to communicate. Also on the airplane, my last flight, I sat next to a lady who knew Lewiston because of the baseball tournaments, and she raved about not only the facilities but the organization of the program. And I asked her where did she stay, and she said, well, we were Rochester, we went back and forth, but she rattled off about 3 restaurants that she and her family and the team ate at. So it is good economic development to have our tournaments. I appreciate that.
Okay. Mike Townsend, Water Department.
Just like to take a moment to acknowledge the men of the water department for, we had a water break over on Perry Court the other day. We had to cut in a water main valve, wound up working 23 hours with their fine talents and the help of a couple of guys from the highway department. I appreciate them guys coming in and taking care of business and get the water back on in a timely fashion.
Okay.
What about your seasonal help? What about seasonal?
I can address that now. I'd like to hire Patrick Gallagher, seasonal starting June 4th. I made a mistake, that's a Saturday. It'll be $15 an hour for 6 months.
And it's within your budget?
Yes.
Move for approval as presented with the amendment to, or adjustment to June 4th.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
So moved. Thank you. Bernie Rotella.
Just a couple of things. The multimodal culvert program for highways going in tomorrow. We got the last piece of information last week. DASD for our pickup truck and fire hydrants, they wanted some additional supporting documentation, which we got, and that'll be going in tomorrow as well. We formally were awarded the electric charging station for the electric cars, and I'll work with Rob to get that process started. We have to go through Grants Gateway to get that documentation going. And then the greenway application for the park should be done in the next week or so. I'll send it over to supervisor and anybody else that'd like to see the draft of it. I want to get that in before the end of the month, and then that'll be presented in June.
Send it to the board by email, please.
Yep, will do.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, the abstract approval.
Make a motion to approve the regular abstract of claims number 1,119 to 1,359 and recommend the payment in the amount of $885,005.92 plus a post audit of $28,593.94, which includes the regular post audit of $14,059.66 plus an additional bill to Harris Software for $14,534.28.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the minutes for the regular town board meeting on April 23rd, 2018.
Move for approval as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved. Old business. John Jacoby with the ethic policy update.
We did get the review from the Association of Towns, and she recommended several changes, some critical, but some that were just to streamline a little bit. I've talked it over with Rob and Al, and Rob put a lot of effort into the original writing, but in deference to the fact that he runs a business and I'm retired, I'm stepping up, and Al and I are going to kick it back to the committee, and we'll look it over and see where we're going to go with it. Because we don't want it to just die, we want to do something with it. And if that's acceptable to everyone on the board. Okay, that's it.
Crediting pastime employment.
I have the resolution.
Yes.
I don't have a voice to read it.
Want me to read it for you? Town of Lewiston Resolution, Amendment to Employee Handbook, Section 800. Whereas the Town of Lewiston Employee Handbook at Section 800 sets forth the employee benefits for employees of the Town of Lewiston, and whereas the Town of Lewiston provides benefits to full-time employees based on their length of employment with the town, and whereas the town of Lewiston has in the past made provisions crediting part-time employees with service time when their employment status changes to full-time, and whereas the Town of Lewiston wishes to provide a uniform policy for crediting employees with service time when they become full-time employees, now therefore be it resolved that Section 800 of the Town of Lewiston Employee Handbook titled Employee Benefits be and hereby is amended by adding Section 818 to read as follows. 818 Service Credit for Part-Time Employees. Policy Statement. All part-time employees of the Town of Lewiston who move from a part-time employment position with the town to a full-time employment position with the town shall have their seniority and benefit status calculated by dividing the number of hours worked in the part-time status by 2,080 hours. An employee who is a member of a collective bargaining unit should refer to the collective bargaining agreement with regard to the crediting of service time for part-time employment. And be it further resolved that since it has been the practice of the Town of Lewiston to credit part-time service when an employee's status changes from part-time to full-time, said amendment be retroactive. A copy of this resolution is to be incorporated into and kept with the town's official copy of the Town of Lewiston Employee Handbook.
Can I interject quickly? I discussed this resolution with Mr. Guyban and the supervisor. It was decided that we should add a word to the resolution that would be immediately. So under 818 service credit, under where it says policy statement, second line, there would be an immediately between town and to, so that it would read.
I can read. You want me to read that statement again for you?
Sure.
Okay. So all part-time employees of the Town of Lewiston who move from a part-time employment position with the town immediately to a full-time employment position with the town shall have their seniority and benefit status calculated by dividing the number of hours worked in the part-time status by 2,080 hours. That's a correct sentence.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion.
Discussion?
Yep, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Discussion?
Then someone had I don't know, 4 or 5 years as a part-time employee and then went away in the military and came back and became a full-time employee, they wouldn't be able to get that previous credit?
Well, I would think sorry, if the military service, if he's just on leave for that military service, I would say he would still be considered an employee of the town even though he's not active.
No, I'm thinking of like a kid works 3, 4, or 5 years in the parks or wherever he works.
And then goes to the military for several years?
Well, does a tour, 4 years, 2 years, then comes back, becomes a town employee. He's got a lot of service time with the city, with the town, I mean.
In that situation, he wouldn't be.
No. So it has to be contiguous?
It would have to, and that was why the immediately was added, and you have to go straight from part-time to full-time.
It is our intent, it will not cover seasonal workers. It's part-time workers going to full-time.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
And basically, if someone also leaves or retires and comes back, if there's a gap, you're not going to recalculate your starting.
Okay, any other questions?
No.
Amy Smith says this makes her comfortable with the situation with the person from the highway department.
Right, okay. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So,
Dave, did you have a question?
Yeah. I didn't know it. Bill, what was that about the highway? It does make you comfortable, the guys from the highway are entitled to this type?
Yes.
okay. Older Americans Month proclamation, Councilman Guidan.
May is Older Americans Month, and I believe 3 out of the 4 members of the board who qualified to participate in this. and I apologize.
Older Americans proclamation.
That's an honor.
Absolute honor, right.
I apologize. I had a medical procedure this morning, and the anesthesia is just taking my voice away now. Mr. Beck's been kind of sure. And the board members will sign it afterwards and present it tomorrow at the Senior Center.
Older Americans Month, May 2018. Whereas seniors in the United States lend to the success of our country in many ways by sharing their knowledge, talents, and abilities that not only benefit their well-being, but all citizens of our great nation. And whereas the town of Lewiston is proud of our senior citizens, Lewiston is a better place to live, work, and enjoy because of their constant enthusiasm and energy. And whereas seniors in Lewiston continue to reach out to all Lewiston residents, young and old, who wish to share in their programs and activities on a daily basis. Now, therefore, let it be known, recognizing the aforesaid, and as an expression of pride and gratitude in its senior residents, the Lewiston Town Board proclaims month of May 2018 to be Older Americans Month in Lewiston, New York. Signed by all the councilmen and Supervisor Rucker.
And with the intention of presenting that tomorrow to the Senior Center.
Okay.
And if anyone's not familiar with our Senior Center, there's many wonderful activities going on there every day. It's a good place to stop by and make new friends and meet some of the old ones. Have fun.
4-lot subdivision approval, Ransomville Road, Councilman Morreale.
Councilman, if I could interrupt you, I know the agenda doesn't reflect it, but we do, prior to making the motion for approval or disapproval of that 4-lot subdivision, we need to take care of seeker on that. And I could walk the board through those resolutions if you would like.
Yes, please.
So the first motion would be to declare the town of Lewiston lead agency for purposes of seeker review.
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next motion is to declare it an unlisted action under seeker.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next motion is to accept seekers parts 1, 2, and 3 as reviewed and presented by the Environmental Commission.
So second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And finally, we need a motion that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts and therefore a negative declaration be issued.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that is all I have.
Okay.
So, the planning board meeting in a regular session on April 19th, 2018, reviewed a subdivision request from Robert Poza for 4 lots on the west side of Ransomville Road, SBL number 76.00-1-12.11. The planning board recommends approval of the minor subdivision as presented. I'd like to make a motion to accept it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Just a
So-
point of information, it's good when we get these minor subdivisions on already established roads, so Mr. Train doesn't, and his crew don't have to do more roads.